Warning, within this podcast you will find themes of an adult nature including but not limited to alcohol, tobacco, drugs, firearms, cursing, and other such adult-themed references. If this disturbs you in any way, then please leave.
Taking her home and
The average male think about for 35 seconds per every minute.
monkey fucking.
I think that there's no such thing as gold in Fort Knox.
So I think about sex every second of every minute. And welcome back to Duel Thought. I am your host, TR, here with...
JJ.
And introducing a special guest, one of our local bartenders, Codo. Codo, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. This is Codo, the bar clown. Anyhow, just wanted to let you know that I've been bartending for a long, extensive period of years. And the reason why I've kept into it is... I don't know why it is that women are always attracted to a bartender, but it makes it easy. I don't know. What else can I say about that other than that cleavage is a form of currency sometimes?
All right, thank you, Codo, for introducing yourself. Yeah, a little bit disturbing. So, if I get you right, basically, you're a bartender for the bitches. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
You've heard of the bartender for the stars. He's the bartender for the bitches.
All right. Well, seeing as you're the guest today, I wanna let you pick the topic that we will duel out tonight.
Well, should we either duel out on astrophysiology and aliens, or should we talk about naked women? What do you think's gonna win?
Well, we all appreciate a good naked woman. I think even women appreciate a good naked woman. There's not very much to go in on that one except we love naked women. So I guess that throws us to astrophysiology, however the hell you said it. Well, let's do that with the out of body experience, and let's go into that one. Codo, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I do think that we have those quite frequently, whether we want to recognize those or not. Because I think that every time we have a dream and we're not in our body and we can just do things and we're out of our body, whether it be on a playground or in a space shuttle or whatever, that's an out-of-body experience. And I think we have those all the time. And I think that, hey, if they're free and you didn't have to take an acid trip, might as well enjoy it.
I'm not sure about the whole astral projection thing. Just because I've never really experienced something like that. My dreams aren't really me traveling around here. They're traveling in a gigantic fantasy land where anything is possible, but it's not really, I can control it. It's just things around me are great, fantastic, and awesome.
And I agree full-heartedly with you on JJ. I don't think that the out-of-body experience thing is completely real. It would be fantastic if it was. We could, travel around the world, and all we'd have to do is go to sleep. I'm down. Cheaper than airfare. But I don't really think it's possible. I know I've never had it. Codo, what do you think on this? No.
Well, I would love it too. And, like you said, it would be very, very inexpensive airfare. All you need is a fifth of booze to go to bed with, and you can just take off on any flight you want.
Actually, I think that's what Codo does every night. Anyhow, let's talk a little bit about best dreams that you guys can remember. What is the best dream? When you wake up and just are in one of those moods, oh my God, I don't want to be awake right now. I want to be in that dream. It was so good, you just don't want to leave. JJ, why don't you take this one off?
Well, all right, so best dream. I'd have to say the best dream was also kind of one of the worst dreams that I've had as well. In this dream, It started out in an urban landscape, and I say we because I felt like there were people behind me at the moment. We are chasing some sort of entity or evil person or something that I know we have to get. And as I'm going in the dream, the scene goes into a bridge, and the person that we're chasing is on the bridge, and it kind of shifts view, and I can see who's with me. It's me and Power Rangers.
Wait a minute. The Mighty Morphing Power. What color were you, bro?
I was black, but that's beside the point. Yeah, I don't know why it's in there. It's kind of weird. But anyways, yeah, I see Power Rangers and me, and we're looking at this evil person, and we start chasing after him, and we're running all throughout this city, and somehow I lose the Rangers and become me again, which is awesome. I like being me instead of a black Power Ranger.
I think Zordon might have called them back to the mothership there.
Quite possibly. And like maybe I wasn't even a Ranger and they were just following me or something. Maybe I looked back and saw the Rangers and the black one was up front. I don't know. But hopefully that was it. Anyways, so we were running in the landscape and they disappear and I'm chasing this guy and we eventually end up in what looks like a giant park. It's kind of circular around. There's not really many trees, but it's a park. And off in the distance, there's a waterfall, and he's running towards the waterfall, so I'm chasing after him. He starts climbing up the waterfall as I'm chasing to try and get to him. He's about halfway up when I reach it, and so I start climbing, but as I'm climbing, I drop the weapon that I'm using to chase this person, and it falls into the pond. So I let go of the wall, didn't even care about him anymore because I felt that I needed the weapon to get him more than I needed to actually catch him, apparently. And so I drop into the water and I swim down. And when I hit the water, it's only like 10 feet deep to the bottom. So I swim down and I grab the weapon and I kick off. And I start swimming up towards the top, but as I keep swimming, it keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I'm trying to reach that last little bit of water, there's like maybe a few inches of water above my head anymore. I wake up and I find that I have a mink blanket wrapped around my head like 3 times.
Wow, now that's an interesting dream, JJ. All right, Codo, what is your best dream that you can remember?
Well, I always wanted to be a superhero, and I remember that there was this one time in my childhood where there was a fire on Kinsey Boulevard, and a couple nights later, I went to bed dreaming that I was like fireproof and I get those people out of there and fly them on out. That was the really coolest dream that I had. That was from a guy who wanted to be a doctor and was a superhero instead. Ironic, isn't it?
I don't know about irony, but that is pretty interesting. Goes to show you that it does really touch base with the whole dreams take a bit out of our subconscious, inner conscious, and everything. So like he said, there was a fire just a few days ago before he had this dream of superhero. Yes, JJ.
That's kind of why I'm going to tie this back real quick. That's why I think that dreams aren't really a way to astral project or anything. It's really more your subconscious taking you into weird realms.
Yes, I agree full-heartedly on that one. All right, I guess if I have to think back, I guess a dream that I can think of, the only one I can really think of that stuck with me the most, I don't think it's my best dream. I think it's the only one I really can remember. Actually, I got a couple that I can remember. I had the one where my dream was the fact that I was, for some reason, on top of a cliff. And I ended up, I'm standing on the edge of this cliff, and for some reason, my dumb ass falls off. Well, in two ways, I was watching myself fall, and as I watched myself fall there, I hit the ground and bounced right back up to the top of the freaking cliff. So, I mean, that was an amazement enough. If that wasn't the end, it would have been great. The fact is that I fell again, and this time I watched myself splatter on the ground. So, not exactly the best dream, but it's the best I can remember. All right, what do you guys think that dreams actually mean? Like, do they have a representation in our lives?
I'm not sure about that, really. I believe that dreams are there for a purpose. I believe you dream for a reason. There's gotta be a reason for such a fantastical world in your mind. Has to be. But what it is, I have no fucking clue. Absolutely none. Not one clue.
Well, the thing about dreams that you got to remember is they're dreams. They're things that we're wishing for. They're coming from our subconscious, or maybe there's a different dementia that's been opened up for our subconscious. And the thing that you got to be careful with dreams is they do have dark spots too. You know, they can have evil behind them too. So you got to be careful when you open those dreams up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I kind of wonder, there's and we'll get back to you for your meaning on it. But it makes me kind of wonder, there's a gland in your brain called the pineal gland, and it's a very, very small gland. But what it does in your body is very interesting. It secretes a chemical known as DMT. DMT is in every living thing, and if you know anything about the drug culture, DMT is also a hallucinogenic drug that you can buy. What it is an overdose of what your brain already gives you when you're asleep. So you kind of have to wonder, is when you go to sleep more a hallucination with subject matter coming from your subconscious?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you're getting mass amounts of weird things going on. I mean, but there is the tie-in to things that are relevant to you. So I think it's your subconscious, your conscious, and whatever makes up the fantasy land in your head, whatever makes up the imagination. I think everything put together. Basically, I'm thinking instead of going and buying DMT, what you do is figure out where that pineal gland is, and we just drill into the head and just start poking at it. That way we can just hallucinate all the time, because that'd be fun.
Actually, we do know where it's at, and cultures have actually known where this is at. If you go back to Hindu, that little dot on the forehead, yeah, that's where it's at. The pineal gland is also known as the third eye, or the chakra. That chakra point, it's right there in the middle of the brain, right where they say the third eye is. It's a small pineal gland that gives you out DMT.
Well, and hand me the drill and get ready to start poking, because I'm down. All right. DMT gives us the opportunity to have these kind of hallucinations. Why don't we have more of it, though? Why is it just in the dreams? Like, there's been cases of people getting hit in the head. Wouldn't that damage it enough to where if that gets hit, that you would have an overdose? Because wouldn't it pump out more?
I honestly don't know about that, and I don't know if there's even research to be done on that. I think, as far as I know, when somebody's pineal gland is damaged, they really don't dream. It's that blank dream type thing. It's not a hallucination that you go to, or really for them, it's just nothing. They don't dream, I believe.
Well, one other question about it. Do you think that it may be a cause of daydreams?
No, because I don't believe that daydreams are the same thing. When you're daydreaming, you're not really going into REM cycle. You're just spacing out and really thinking about something else. I think it's because you're conscious. Really, the DMT thing only comes in when you're asleep, when you hit REM cycle.
I'd like to interject here a little bit on that one. But you remember when we were in kindergarten and we all had to take a little bit of a nap? Don't you think that that was the greatest rejuvenator that you've ever had in your life? And if more employers were more apt to saying, okay, Nelson, you go take a nap. Okay, I'll take a nap for, 15 minutes, and then I'll have a quick 5-minute smoke, and I'll be ready back to go.
Well, yes, you do get the 30-minute break. What you do on it's your deal. If you want to go take a nap, I don't think anybody stops you as long as you wake up enough, come back to work. As long as we don't find you underneath the table somewhere, I think you're good. What's your thoughts on daydream, though, Codo?
Well, my thoughts on daydreams I think daydreams are great because daydreams are what you live for. These are your wishful things that you're trying to achieve, whether it be the beautiful blonde that you work with, the beautiful blonde that's next door, but these are things that you're trying to achieve.
So what you're saying is more that you're going into a daze and going, yeah, I can see myself taking her home and Okay, well, those are your goals and achievements, I can say, but I can see that as a daydream, yeah.
You do know that the average male does think about sex for an average of like 35 seconds per every minute.
Well, then I'm abnormal because I think about sex every second of every minute. I mean, anyhow, I think you mentioned them earlier about you want to talk about aliens. Let's get into this one. What do you think, Codo?
Well, I definitely think that being aliens is a superior race that we should embellish upon. The things that we could learn from them, if we haven't already, it's a lot more complex than you'll ever believe. Just look at everything like from the pyramids to ancient archaeology to Mayan civilizations.
So what you're talking about is more like the star people that came out from outer space and influenced how we developed and became a human species, or how they came and did the technology and gave us technology, or that they built the pyramids themselves. Is that correct?
Well, a lot of it dates back to that, but we could even just take it to present day. I can remember growing up, and there was no such thing as a color TV. Now there's color TVs. Now there's wireless phones. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff it's like Star Trek came true.
So you're saying that all of that is because we got this technology from aliens. The only reason we're this technologically advanced is because aliens have been feeding us technology.
No, I don't know if it's maybe that we have been given their technology, but we've been harvesting it. I think that there's no such thing as gold in Fort Knox. But I think why it's so highly guarded is I think that there's a lot of alien technology in there. And we've been only releasing it in increments after we've diagnosed it properly in segments, so that we just didn't bombard the whole world with it.
So what you're saying is we've had the technology for internet, TV, cell phones, and all of that locked away in a basement, and we've just been slowly, here you go, people. Here, have this technology that we've had since 1930-something.
It's not as drastic as that, but it's along those same lines where, you got to be very careful the way you release it. Because if you release it, there's going to be repercussions.
So basically you're saying the government knows that there's aliens, the government has talked to aliens, the government owns their technology, and we're slowly releasing all of their technology into our population.
Well, something along those lines, yeah. We've got them under our thumbs, I hope. And I hope they're the good ones and not the bad ones.
Where is your theory coming from, sir? Where do you get this theory from? Because you've got to have something to support this.
Okay. From what we're told, there's two different humanoid factions out there. There's the Greys, which are more symbolic, that look like us a little bit more. And then there's the reptilians, which obviously I don't need to tell you what a reptilian looks like.
Giraffe.
A giraffe.
All right, but how's that got to do with already having their technology?
Well, those are the two factions that are warring. And we have been released a little bit of the technology from the Greys, little by little, but not a whole lot. But pretty soon we're going to have enough accumulated to fight the reptiles.
TR, I need you to get in this conversation. Help me out here. I'm having trouble understanding some of this.
I'm having trouble not laughing at you two fools. This is going to be one hell of a weird-ass podcast on this one. So what you're saying is there is, gray-looking people, and they're lizard people. And apparently the gray ones we're working with, getting technology, and we're supposed to fuck up the reptiles, reptilian, the fucking snakes. I mean, what the hell are we supposed to be doing again? You're losing me here, pal.
Honestly, you lost me a little bit too. I mean, I can talk ancient aliens, and I mean, I love the show. I love the conspiracy theories. Hell, I think some of them are true.
It's completely different.
But yeah, you're going off on a little bit different of a subject than that anymore.
Wait, I want to know something real quick. When do you see the gray people?
I see the gray people quite often, actually, which might frighten you. But anyways, what I want to get back to is I challenge you guys to look up the author, Zachariah Stitchin, who wrote the book. He wrote some alien book. I don't know what it was. The Greys, so much like us, so much like them. I don't.
Get the weird one and put them on. We just did that, okay? I want to know where he learned how to read.
Okay, Cody, when did you learn to read?
The age of 5.5, 6.
How'd you learn to read?
Aliens?
Was it aliens? Was it being drunk?
No, I remember being on my dad's shoulders at the age of 3, and there was some fireworks going off on the.
And this is all about reading, right?
And I went off on the 4th of July, and he thought that I was going to be some sort of genius because there was fireworks going off of our head. And I looked up, and I go, Quasar. I thought I was going to be some genius.
Okay. I can't keep going.
If that is how the new school system is teaching fucking kids to read, that explains our generation these days. We can't get much crazier than that. The fucking gray and reptile, really?
All right, let's just keep going.
All right, fuck this shit. How is this relating to the ancient aliens?
Well, we've only evolved for so many years. They've been here many, 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 many more years than we have been. So they've watched us. They have watched us do everything. They have just watched us go from caveman that could barely light fire and they watched us from being able to race cars.
Who's watching us?
The aliens.
All right, so this is really difficult for Cody, apparently. Just out of curiosity, how much have you drinking tonight?
A few.
Dozen.
A few dozen?
Few shooters.
Dozen.
And some at the bar?
A few.
Dozen.
All right, I just want to know where we're at on the Cody level. So let's actually try and do something on ancient aliens here.
Okay.
Ancient aliens. Talk about ancient aliens like the Sphinx or the pyramid.
We were actually created from the ancient aliens to be people that mined for the Sumerians that were an ancient race. And this is depicted by Zachariah Stitchin. Anyhow, the gold that we had to harvest for them was needed for their atmosphere. Do you remember that one?
I do, actually. I've watched something on that before. I believe what you're going to is the Sumerian texts about creation, and it says in there that ancient beings came down from the heavens, and these are called the Anunnaki. They came down from the heavens, and they influenced, well, basically us. Basically, it says in the text that they came down, they were mining for gold, and them having to work so hard was cruel, so they couldn't get any help from their planet because it was too far away. So they started genetically manipulating with the creatures that were already here. And
big influence on the Egyptian culture too.
So basically, they took the genetic manipulation and what they did was they took an egg from a humanoid female or something along the lines here, and took their sperm and intravenously put it into one of their women, and from that created the first human Anunnaki hybrid. And from there, apparently they couldn't reproduce, so they started just pumping out these creatures and messing with their genes a little bit more. Maybe they'd live a little bit longer, maybe they'd be stronger, and eventually they tweaked it just right so that they started reproducing. And in the script it says that whoever the Anunnaki was that was leading this place said, "I do not like the sounds that come out when they're reproducing, and they're fornicating like rabbits." So they were getting overwhelmed with how many people were coming out, and they couldn't control it anymore, so they were just like, "Yep, we're gone," and left the planet. And that's where the Bible takes over with the Noah's Ark flood. According to these texts, is that once they left, a giant flood happened which killed off most of humanity except for one guy. And they actually claim that it wasn't an ark full of animals, but more an ark full of their genetic makeup that one alien that stayed behind kept, so that they could clone them all.
Well, I totally agree on that one. There's something that I need to conjecture on that one, though, is to just put it in layman's terms. Can you imagine if these people that created us to be their slaves, that made us mine for gold and everything like that, and what happens if there was a couple primates around? What happens? Do you think that these little spacemen that needed us all of a sudden said, I'm going to get me a piece of that orangutan sometime? And out
I do like the orangutan.
And out we came.
And it solves that in the texts. You should know this. It wasn't that the aliens went, "Oh yeah, monkey fucking, oh yeah." It was that they took what was already starting and genetically manipulated it through them. Everything was done through their biology. It was done. The babies were birthed by their women, which is where you get Lilith and everything in the Sumerian texts. The Bible likes to keep that one out of there. They do keep Adam and Eve, but they like to throw Lilith way the fuck out there. It's more that they created them through them. They were the genetic makeup with help from what was already there to create slaves based off of them.
Well, yeah. The Bible does like to hide a lot of text from us. But there's one thing for certain. It wouldn't be written if there wasn't something to be written about. There's a reason why it's written. And whether it's true, folklore, biblical text, or whatever, or just something to give us nightmares about, it's there for a reason.
I do agree. I believe that everything that is written about, everything that is artistically wise, if you're writing a story or doing a painting or marble or something, art is basically telling a story of something that you saw. It imitates something that happened. Whether it's described correctly or not may not be the case. Maybe we were using terms that we only knew to describe something unprofound and unbelievable. There were no words for. But it could be that everything out there, aliens, nests, ghosts, everything out there could possibly be true, but maybe not in the form that we know it.
I do believe that you're correct on this. So what you're saying is that art imitates life for the most part, even to this day. I mean, things that are made up on movies, TV shows, things like this. I mean, these are things that basically an idea had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, take the movie we watched just a while ago about urban legends.
That's actually exactly what
we watched a movie about urban legends where they were trying to figure out what it was based off of, and in each case they found the basis of it. It wasn't the story that we all know as the urban legend, but it was close enough to spawn the story.
Well, thanks for taking my only thought I had. Yes, actually, that's where I was going with this. Is the movie we watched? They took the Candyman, the Hook, the not Hook like Peter Pan Hook, but the Hook like that old story about the couple making out in the car. Here's something weird. The radio broadcast says that somebody insane dude escaped only with a hook on his hand, and girl gets scared, says I want to leave, blah 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 blah. They take off. When he goes to let the girl out, notices a hook dangling from the car door.
Yep.
And yeah, they went in and checked this out, and in fact, yes, this is almost a true story, almost. The urban legend of it is, as I just quoted, the couple in the car thing. Well, the actuality is the fact that there was somebody going around and killing people in this small town. What was the name? I don't remember the name. I think it was the Arkansas or something, in between Texas and Arkansas. It's a little border state that combines both the names together. So Texarkana, I think, actually what it was. And if you look up Texarkana, it's going to show you the urban legend of this dude that went around killing multiple people and basically did the whole couple in the car thing, except it didn't have the exact thing of the hook. It had more of shooting them in the head, but things get exaggerated.
And that's the thing. You got to look at the tales of these things with a bit of skepticism, but not enough skepticism that it's not real. You got to realize that something out there made them think this is what it is. Something out there made the representation to look like this. It may not be that, but it's close. It may be closely related to what they're talking about.
And it's basically the old game we used to play as kids, the game telephone. You whisper something in one person's ear around a circle of 20 people. When it comes back to that first person, what you whispered in their ear is completely different than what comes back to you.
Yeah, but at the end of it, the elements are still the same. There are still elements that were in the first saying.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying is how these urban legends get started. The elements are still there by the end, but what actually happened is completely different than what they're saying has happened.
And that's the big thing. We gotta, like with the ancient aliens, we have some proof for this, but it may not be what we think it is. It may not be exactly what we think it is.
And that's kind of what I was going to say while you guys were debating the ancient aliens. Is I mean, for some of it, I call some bullshit, but that's my own personal thought. But I think that, yeah, it is quite possible that things that are discovered, left behind, that nobody could really understand what it was, so they kind of repurposed it, kind of came up with a reason for why it was there.
The one thing that I'd like to also add into it, though, is if you look at a lot of the great artwork masterpieces from Da Vinci to Galileo to whatever, they somehow always have a representation of a spaceship or something in there, somewhere in the background.
Elaborate on that one, please.
Yeah, please elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, if you look at the Mona Lisa, there is a starship in her picture.
In the Mona Lisa?
Yes, there is.
I believe you're wrong on that one. I believe it's a different painting. I know a painting that you're talking about, but I don't believe it's the Mona Lisa.
Nope. I'm pretty much sure I'm pretty much right on the money on that one. And then you look at a lot of the Mayan artwork, and you look at a lot of the other artwork from around the world in the Egyptian culture. There's always a depiction.
Show me the spaceship.
I do agree with that. To a level though. I believe going back to the whole. A whole lot of elements have this. We do see alien culture, or we see representation of aliens or star beings in multiple genres of culture. We see it in Egypt. We see it in South America. We see it in Japanese. We see it in we see this kind of culture of there are star beings across the entire planet. So I don't think an entire planet got something wrong. I think they couldn't represent it right.
I think you're right on that, yeah. And a little bit, I want to go back a little bit here. JJ, can you point out the spaceship in that picture? Because I can't.
No, the Mona Lisa does not have a UFO in it. But there is a painting that does, and I can find it for you if you want.
And yeah, there probably is.
A famous painting, famous.
Galileo, Mozart, or not Mozart.
One of those artists, yeah.
All right, yeah. Quite possible, but I just wanted to prove this fact that Mona Lisa does not have alien ships in it. Anyways, getting back to the subject that you were talking about, JJ. Yeah, I do believe that the thought of the alien thing has been around forever. I mean, it's been talked about for as long as there's been to be a recording of time. And I think that there will always be the whole alien aspect. Even another show we watched, it says now there's aliens on the moon. I mean, They've got pictures, well, blurred as they are. They've got there was the one that wasn't blurred. The rest of them were, and that's something I don't like about trying to get the whole evidence across. Is everything is blurred. You got your Bigfoot, your Loch Ness monster, your alien sightings. Most of everything that they're like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. Yeah, I'm not going to believe it because blurred. Like, how am I supposed to believe your evidence when I can't see it?
Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
And just because I can't see it doesn't make it ain't made up.
All right. Well, in my opinion, everything had a reason to come about, and not everybody can be wrong with this whole everybody on the continent knowing about, seeing about, talking to aliens, or how most of these ancient civilizations, not technology, sorry, these ancient civilizations have mapped out the stars to the point where they knew about Uranus and its color and its orientation and its rings and its moons before we ever confirmed it. They knew about Neptune and its color and its rotation and how many moons it had and the moons that had water on it. How can these ancient civilizations know all that information without some sort of technology that we say they can't have, or communication with people that we say can't exist?
Well, I think that is based upon an astrological calendar where they get a lot of their things based upon a calendar of events. They know when they're going to have to stock hold on this. They know when they're going to have to make that. They know when they're going to have to get their water reserve. They know when the winter's coming in. They know exactly what to do and when to do it. And the whole thing with those people, though, is where did they go and why?
Yeah, I go with the same point. I mean, I do believe that there is some sort of contact with something that was not of our origin. Some sort of contact with, whether it be an alien or, hell, for all I know, it could have been future people time traveling back. I have no idea, but there's so much evidence to point to some sort of contact with something that gave them the ability to know so much information that we don't have today. We're just refinding all this shit. I mean, hell, they say ancient scripts all claim that there is like 10 planets. In ancient script, if you were talking about Earth, it was the 7th planet. In every ancient language, we are the 7th planet. And you gotta realize this going backwards. If you go backwards towards the sun, we are the 7th planet. We take it from the sun out. So, with all of this kind of culminating together, there's some sort of evidence saying that the only reason we knew about our solar system and planets that we shouldn't have known about was somebody else came in and told us. Came into our solar system because we were the 7th planet. They were counting coming in. That's a little weird.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I like to think it was the whole time travel idea. In fact, I want to get into a little bit of that. What do you think? How do you think that if somebody was to time travel from the future, how do you think they'd come back to this time, though, due to the fact that we don't have the means to time travel? So wouldn't you need 2 access points?
Maybe and maybe not. There's the theory out there that if you build a time machine, you can only go back as far as the time machine was built. It has a limitation to you can only see to where it was built. But that is the physical manifestation of the machine. There's also the realm of thought that maybe you can send your consciousness back. Maybe you can send your consciousness to another person or some sort of thing back into the past to witness something. That'd be really cool if that turned out to be the case. And there's also the possibility that maybe if you in fact do find the way to use time travel and it turns out that you go through like a black hole or something, that it doesn't matter when the time machine was built. At that point, you're going through a pinhole in time and space to pop out somewhere else.
So then we're saying it's completely possible then that somebody could have, from, let's say, even another couple hundred years in the future from us, even though time's not written yet that we know of. I mean, everything could be falling into place just as it's supposed to be, even if we think we're changing the future. It could be the fact that wait a minute, if this is going to happen in the future, I'm going to go this way. What if that way was what was planned to begin with anyway? They knew damn well and right, like time knew damn well and right, that you were going to make the second decision. So it is then possible that somebody could have went from fucking hundreds of years into the future to a couple hundred years past and went, hey, fuckers, there's a bunch of solar systems out there. Hey, you, painter dude, make me a painting showing this. And it just goes on from there to where it just continues throughout time for us to believe what these time travelers have told us.
It is quite possible at that. And there's also the other thing that you got to realize. Some people claim that time travel or time itself is not one thing. Yeah. It's broken up into a whole bunch of different things. So you've got your paradoxical worlds, and time travel may just be a travel into a paradoxical world so similar to ours that you can see everything that happened, but you can't influence what happened. There's that thought, and there's also the fact that you were talking about maybe I'm doing this decision and this is just the way it's turning out to be. For every decision, in this theory, for every decision there's a new branch made. So say this morning you had the choice between OJ or milk. At that point you separate and create two worlds to where in one world you had the milk and in one world you had the orange juice. And different consequences happen because of each of them.
Which world had the orange juice? Because I'd have loved that this morning.
It was the world that you did not take, apparently. Cody, what's your opinion on time travel?
Well, it's got a multi-paradox with it. You can never second-guess time travel. I think that rule number one with time travel is do not meet yourself back in time. Otherwise, that changes the whole time continuum. It'll disrupt the whole damn flow.
Well, isn't it possible that could have been a destiny thing anyway?
I don't think so. That's matter and antimatter meeting. I don't think it's supposed to happen.
You also go into the fact that there's also the thing that maybe you do go back in time and meet yourself. You're not on this. Once you do that, you're not on the same timeline that you were when you never met yourself. You're creating a different timeline entirely. And when you travel back, none of that actually ever happened.
Yeah, but one of the paradoxes is, like, say that if I was supposed to die in a certain continuum, but myself from the future comes and saves me, now there's two of us in the same continuum. What do we do about that one?
Time travel, you can always leave. He's got the technology. Shit.
And the theory that I'm talking about right now, it defeats that paradox. If time travel in the fact that we create it is more of a jump to a different world where choices were pretty much the same, you're jumping to another world, but the moment that you change it, a new world happens that never affects the original world. A new world happens, and a new continuum is created. A new timeline is created. In that timeline, you went back and saved yourself. But when you travel back, when you go back to your time, it never happened. Never.
Well, I'm very miffed about that one, but I can see where you're talking about the paradox in times and stuff like that. But wow, I don't want to ever know that, and I might have gone back in time for as far as 2, 3, 4, 5 years trying to correct something, and just got back, and in a blink of an eye, I don't remember none of that. That's kind of scary.
In technicality, I believe if in fact you're going back that little bit, if you're going back a couple years, and you go, hey, don't go down this path, go down this one, to save yourself from something. When you get back, of course you're not going to have the same memories because, well, in that case, there would still be two of you in that case because aren't you ripping open time and space and creating another you, technically? Because you're going back, you're saving this guy. Now this guy's going the next 5 years through. Now, at this point, he's supposed to jump back before you get back. So then the guy here that's jumping back to go save him has the memories of it all, where the one coming back has a memory of going back and going, hey, don't do it. And you're not gonna have the memory of the last 5 years, no.
And yeah, that's if you're looking at a one continuum line. If you're looking at a one continuum line, no, it's not. It's a one continuum line argument. If you're looking at a one continuum line where you go back, save yourself from something happening, go back to the point in the same line, and there's two of you. This theory that is jumping timelines is each timeline's a different branch. So the moment that you make a different choice, the moment you influence something, the moment you change a tiny thing, it's not affecting the timeline you were on, it's creating a new timeline. And when you go back, what you did didn't happen because you're on a different timeline.
So in which case, when you get back, you're not even having to worry about the last 5 years of memories because you're getting back to the original where you started from. Or, I mean, wouldn't that all still be changed and everything because you're on a different timeline at that point? Because what you prevented from happening, it then crosses over into a different timeline. So, I mean, where do you go back to then?
You would most likely go back to the time period the timeline that you left, being that everything that happened before you left still happened. Anything that you went back to try and change never happened, so these memories are still existent. It's just on a different timeline, so you'd never actually be able to influence anything in your past. Anything that you influence creates a new timeline, and you're still you.
Well, then what would be the point of going back at all?
The point of going back would be witnessing something.
Yeah, I guess if you want to do that, you want to go back to your major eras in time. I mean, hell, your dinosaur era, your knights and kings and crap like that. You want to go back to any part that had major effect on the world itself, Lincoln's assassination. Actually, I'm drawing a blank on most of the big events.
Hell, there's even some saying that even on a single continuum line, if we do create a single continuum line time travel to where I go back, influence something, come back, the influence takes shape, they say that the universe kind of works around these paradoxes. Like, say, Titanic. Say we went to go investigate the Titanic and went to time travel back to watch it sink. The paradox being too many more people on the boat would influence how things happen. Maybe somebody went back and told the ship. But the universe would fix it out going, so many people traveled back in time that the time traveler weight, the extra weight of the people sunk the ship.
Well, the one thing that I have to say about that is that you're supposed to witness history if you go back in time, but not change it. if you change it, you open up a whole can of whoop ass. And this is something that you might not be ready to, when you get back to your regular 19 or 2015 or whatever it is nowadays, whatever you affected might had severe consequences. They might even have extinctions. I don't know.
And I'm not trying to disagree. If we're looking at a one continuum line, then yes, I agree. If you change the past, shit will fuck up completely. Mm-hmm. If, however, we're on a multi-dimensional, timeline theory where everything and anything is possible, any choice leads to a different outcome, a different world, whether you're conscious of it or not. Going back and changing something could just put you in a different world line. Everything still continues. And if you try and get back, everything will be the same. Kind of, I know it's not really a movie or a show that most people will have seen, but there is a cartoon an anime called Steins Gate. And what it does is it says, if you change something, you're changing your timeline. If you're able to remember it, if you're able to remember your change that you did, you change timelines. And the timeline that you were currently on continues to go, but the one that you are in is because of the change that you made. It's a different timeline entirely.
All right, actually, I love that show. For all of you out there that want to actually learn a little bit more, because it does have some good points to it, and actually be entertained, look up Steins Gate. It is it's a great show. Anyways, one last thing I want to go with here. If, in fact, you had the ability to go back in time to change anything in your life, let's say the one-line timeline, what would you change and why?
That's actually really hard for me anymore. I mean, when I was younger, I used to wish that I could go back and change this or go back and change that. But now I look at everything that has happened and where I'm at, and none of this would have happened if shit didn't happen the way it did. So I'd be more tempted not to fuck with it because I like where I'm at. I like that I have these friends that I have. I like that I have a circle that I can trust. And where would I be if I changed one thing? Like, say, maybe I go back and change the fact that I got kicked out of the military. Well, now I've been serving for 4 years. I come back. I don't know anybody that I do now. I would have never made any of the connections that I do now. I don't think I'd be in the position that I'm in now. It's kind of hard to say what you would go back and change, just because to think of the consequences is really iffy.
Well, the one thing that I could say that I'd like to change is, if I could go back in any time in my life, is I'd like to have never met my ex-wife, because that woman has pretty much destroyed me. I'm blessed that I got 2 nice children with her, but I'd gladly have sacrificed that to have 2 nice children with someone else later on in life if I never would have just answered that call or worn some protection.
All right, thank you, Codo. Good thoughts, gentlemen. I think if I had the chance to go back in time, due to the fact that I think I'd still actually maintain some of what I have now, I'd keep myself out of jail. I'd probably end up back here anyway. I'd probably still be in this house. I'd probably still met you two. We'd probably still be, if you guys continued on your lines and I changed mine enough to where I stayed here but didn't have the whole jail problem, I think I'd do that. Yeah, definitely. Well, I'd have a lot more money, that's for damn sure. Anyways, to wrap it up, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
thank you, Cody, for being on. It was a pleasure to have you. You brought out a lot of cool thought from us. We had a great duel here.
Well, I totally enjoyed being here. You know, I got me and Smokey right now. He's my little guru here. And we look forward to coming back and having more fun.
I'm actually going to need you to stop kidnapping my cat. Anyhow, I myself don't have any other final thoughts other than it's been a weird show, and we're keeping most of everything because it has been fun. Cody, once again, thank you for being on our show. Look forward to having you back at some point. Quit kidnapping my cat. And we'd like to throw out a shout out to 6 and 60.
And I'd like to throw out a shout out to Pimp Snaggles for the great intro idea and the crazy guy idea.
For Dual Thought, this has been TR coming at you live.
JJ by your side.
And this has been Dual Thoughts, dueling out the thoughts that come to our heads.